What Juju hoped for in his first season as a #1 receiver after missing the playoffs last season and losing both the Killer Bees. Pittsburgh has started the season 0-2, and things just got a lot worse. Big Ben is done for the season and is expected to have elbow surgery. He released a statement on the injury and vows to come back strong next year. Juju talked about his quarterback going down.
It sucks, you have a quarterback like that. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, great leader, great role model for our team. Me playing with him the past 2 years, he taught me so much, as a person on the field and off the field, and just made me a better player. Losing him, it's gonna be tough this year, but at the same time, we have my guy Mason. We all believe in him, that he's gonna step up, do the job. You saw a little glimpse of him this past game.
It's super weird, that's for sure. Really surreal. But at the same time, you got to be a football player mentality, next guy up and move on. But obviously with a guy like that, it's a little different. Easier said than done, that's for sure.
Marcus Spears in the house. Good to see you.
My brother, what's up?
How we doing?
It's quarterback situation in the league right now.
Yeah, we're going to be getting into Colin Kaepernick a little bit later. Because we got a lot of stuff to say
Time to make some calls, no question. Stephen A., let me ask you this. I know this one's personal for you. You're a diehard Steelers fan. You're giving him a pass this season, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not giving them a pass. First of all, the Steelers don't look very good right now. Their season is over. It's done. It's finished. I'm over it. Okay, I said it the second Ben went down. So
moved on.
Ain't no way in hell they win. They ain't getting to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? They ain't winning the division. They ain't gonna be no wild card. I don't even know if they're gonna have a winning record. I'm just telling you that right now. That's how I feel about it. Okay. And I know that they just acquired Minkah Fitzpatrick. I wasn't happy with that. I wasn't happy with the fact that they gave up a first-round pick for him. First of all, I don't know if you're a first-round pick. I know you got picked 11th overall. All right? I know I loved you when you was at Alabama. Roll Tide, baby.
You should be happy with Minkah.
Listen, I know he can play. I'm not questioning his ability to play. But I am questioning, you didn't want to play corner in Miami. Now, that doesn't mean that you might not be willing to do it. But where your passion lies matter, bro. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, if you didn't want to play cornerback, maybe it was because you was contaminated by being a Dolphin. I get that. But you did not want to play the cornerback position. So why should I be excited about that? And you gave up a first-round pick for this brother. It reeks of desperation. And they are desperate. Now, let's be clear. They ain't going to playoffs. They ain't winning. I can't see it. But in terms of them getting a pass, here's why they can't get a pass. Because of all the stuff that happened in the offseason. You see, Antonio Brown, I believe, has engaged in very clownish behavior over the last several weeks. As a black man, I was embarrassed by how he conducted himself. I'm not talking about who he is.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about his character. I'm talking about how his actions when he was in Oakland, they were embarrassing. And for those that don't understand, listen, in our society here, the few can contaminate the many. When you are a black man and you're in certain positions and you act clownish, then people tend to believe a lot of folks act like that. That's why I took it personally, and I ain't apologizing that for all of you sorry behinds out there who think I should go to hell. Now, having said all of that, Antonio's a bad brother now. I don't get it twisted. He left. He wanted out. Le'Veon Bell's a bad brother, Max. He left. He wanted out. Okay? You, Mike Tomlin, said, quote, "We want volunteers, not hostages." Well, you got a whole bunch of volunteers. And by the way, before Ben went down, you got blitzed by 30 on opening night of the NFL season. It was against the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. But damn it, you didn't have to lose by 30. And you were losing to Seattle. Okay? So I'm looking at it from the standpoint that it's not like the Steelers got a good running game. James Conner looks horrible thus far. Mr. James Conner, you don't look that impressive right now. Get it together. Juju Smith-Schuster, you're a #1 receiver. Love that, brother. But you don't look like a #1 receiver right now. Ben Roethlisberger wasn't looking too damn good. Okay? And don't get me started with that defense. These are a myriad of problems. So even though Big Ben goes down, the fact of the matter is I still need to see the rest of the team playing like Steelers are supposed to be playing. Let me look at them and go like this. All right, they don't have Big Ben. They got Mason Rudolph. I'm good. I'll give them a pass then. But I ain't going to give you a pass if everything else around you stinks and you're going to sit up there and say, oh, it's because of Ben not here. Nah, that ain't happening.
As usual, Tomlin and the Steelers suffer by a comparison to the Patriots. They got smoked opening game, because the Patriots are way better. Tomlin's a great coach. He is not even in the same league as Bill Belichick. Belichick's embarrassing the league. He's embarrassing the best coaches in football. And Tomlin is one of them. He may be his chief rival. I mean, Belichick doesn't have a rival, but Tomlin maybe has gotten as close in terms of success as possible. They're measuring against Belichick. Here he's being measured against Belichick again if you don't give him a pass. You're saying, well, Bill Belichick can take a backup quarterback, guys who don't succeed in other places, guys you never heard of, Sam Cassell, Matt Castle, Matt Castle, and like win, and then, yeah, but what did Matt Castle do after that? It's Belichick. He is the best of all time by far, including everyone who ever lived. That doesn't mean everyone or anyone else can do that. I didn't think the Steelers were going to make the playoffs this year before the season started. Maybe an 8-8 kind of team.
They didn't make it last year.
And I was looking forward to seeing what would happen because I didn't blame Roethlisberger for a second. This is an Antonio Brown problem. But when Le'Veon Bell started chirping about Roethlisberger, I thought, wait a minute. People are saying the same thing here. Okay, Roethlisberger, what you got? Tomlin enables it. Roethlisberger's the quarterback. Let's see what you got. You're going to be better without the two of the best who ever did it? Let's see what you got. I wasn't going to give them a pass for this season because they lost those guys. They have Juju Smith-Schuster. They have Connor. Okay. But when the starting quarterback goes down, he's a future Hall of Famer. Of course you get a pass on the season. Now, you still have to see if Mason Rudolph has an NFL future. You got to see if Tomlin can develop him and win at least a half dozen games, let's say, with that guy. Mm-hmm. But you can't now say the expectations are the same. Hey, let me see you make the playoffs. Hey, let me see this team have a winning record. The starting QB, which is the whole shooting match on that team, went down. Of course they get a pass. Yeah, but this is the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the point that Stephen A. is trying to make. You're supposed to be prepared for this. And because of last year is my issue as well, because when you think about this, all of the moves that were made, sacrificing Le'Veon Bell, getting rid of AB, is because of 7. Right? That is why the Pittsburgh Steelers felt comfortable enough to say, hey, we can let 2 of the best players in the NFL go because of our quarterback. Now you lose your quarterback. So now you put the microscope directly on how you build a football team. I would venture to say this, and this is not to take anything away from Ben Roethlisberger. I would venture to say that Ben he walked into a perfect situation as a quarterback. It can't get any better. You got Jerome Bettis and Hines Ward in your offensive room with one of the best offensive line. You got Troy Polamalu over there on the defensive side in the locker room. Plaxico. But what I'm saying is we think about Ben. Ben, for the majority of his career, has played with prolific football players. Not just good guys. He's played with Hall of Famers his entire career with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 2 guys, the one guy that's playing for the Jets, potentially a Hall of Famer. AB will be a Hall of Famer depending on how all of this situation plays out. Here's the deal for me, and when I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, I say to myself, for as long as this franchise has existed, one player has never determined how successful they would be. Because this is a team built multifaceted with the ability to win games in different ways. It wasn't Terry Bradshaw even back in the day.
But this is what you asked for now, because this is what we said. Well, Juju's a one receiver, so we don't need Antonio Brown. That's what, remember people said that. Mm-hmm. Well, our offensive line is the reason the run game is good. So we don't need Le'Veon Bell. Mm-hmm. Look at James Conner getting 1,000 yards the same year Le'Veon Bell sits out. People have to understand, and this is for football fans, dynamics change every offseason.
Right.
You got to be careful when you letting great players walk out of your building.
You definitely have to. But this is the point that I think needs to be mentioned about the Steelers, because you bring up their history. Even with Bradshaw, they had Swan and Stallworth, Franco Harris, even Rocky Bleier. You had Chuck Nolan.
The Steel Curtain.
But you had the Steel Curtain. It was predicated on defense, okay? When you won those Super Bowls, you won one Super Bowl with Bill Cowher. You won another with Mike Tomlin. Even though Big Ben Roethlisberger was there, he played like trash against Seattle in that Super Bowl, but played better against Arizona, obviously. When you sit up there and you look at Cowher, he had a defense. When you look at Mike Tomlin, even though he had Big Ben Roethlisberger, they had a better defense. Polamalu and those boys, even when they lost to Green Bay in the Super Bowl, it took Aaron Rodgers, that bad brother, in order to beat them, okay? So you had a defense. Offensively, when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, you look at Big Ben Roethlisberger, and let's give credit where credit is due. Mike Tomlin ain't making the decisions. Kevin Colbert is the one making the decisions along with the hierarchy with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not like Belichick who gets to make those calls. Mike Tomlin does not get to make those calls. So we understand that. But in the end, his signature is defense. You were a defensive backs coach, then you were a defensive coordinator before you got the job. And historically, defense has been your problem since you have been in Pittsburgh, primarily with your secondary and to some degree with the absence of a pass rush, which is sacrilegious when you think about the Steel Curtain. And then there's Big Ben. Yes, he's a Hall of Famer. Yes, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. But damn, when we talk about the elite quarterbacks in this game, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, et cetera, Big Ben Roethlisberger has religiously and continuously been second tier. He only played a game and a half or a game 5 quarters on the season. But in the first 5 quarters of this season, he's completed 58% of 56% of his passes, and his QBR was 20. So guess what? You got cats that just ain't doing their jobs. I ain't giving anybody a pass when cats walked into the season not doing their job. It's not like you were doing your job and then you lost Big Ben. No, he wasn't doing his job when he was there for the first 5 quarters.
Let me say one thing about the Minkah Fitzpatrick situation, by the way.
Yeah.
You mentioned he doesn't want to play corner. And I understand what you mean, a premium on a cover corner, which he is not.
That's right.
I
would love Jalen Ramsey in Pittsburgh.
I'll trade a first-round pick for him.
Right.
However, in terms of
Not with the Giants,
do you
but
recall what your guy Nick Saban said about Minkah Fitzpatrick?
What did he say?
He does a lot of the things that are important to Saban as well as anyone he's ever coached. Yeah. So, and by the way, you bring up great Steelers of the past. Can a safety be worth a first-round pick? I don't know, what was Troy Polamalu worth?
Was he worth 2?
So if I'm not saying Minkah Fitzpatrick has those kind of instincts and everything, but if he's also a culture setter guy who can be a Pro Bowl caliber safety, then actually you just addressed part of that.
If you're going to give up a 2020 first-round pick, then you know what? You could have made sacrifices and made sure hostages were volunteers.
It's his ability. It's Minkah's ability.
Right.
Look, he gives them multiple positions in one guy. That is invaluable in the NFL. It's not about if he's like a great cover corner or a great nickel back that covers the slot, or he could play safety. I can carry less people at this position and fill a need somewhere else because he can make a difference.
Ryan Shazier? Is he that guy? Did he do that?
From a mentality standpoint, yes, he could.
All right, we're out of time, guys.
They overpaid. I get it. They overpaid.
We got to leave it there. All right, we'll see Mason Rudolph leading Stephen A. Steelers against Jimmy G in San Francisco. That'll be on Sunday. It seems Jalen Ramsey is done playing in North Florida. You said it. I distanced myself from that name. But it's a star cornerback going too far with his actions.